Welcome to Tech Brothers with Amir. In this video, we are going to learn how to read Excel sheet data after skipping rows in SSIS package by using script task. Let's go ahead and take a look on Excel files and Excel sheets, how they look like. Here, I have two Excel files. Let's open one. And we see that this is kind of template where companies put their information. So I have used some information here. Welcome to TechBrothersIT.com, and then they have a data table right here. So I have ID, name, and date of birth. Let me close this one and let's go to the second Excel sheet. Excel file, and we have multiple sheets in this Excel file as well. You can see that the template is the same. So we have a welcome to TechBrothersIT. This can be different even on different sheets. It doesn't really matter as long as the starting row is the same. So you see that we have ID, name, and date of birth. These are the same column on each of the sheet, and they are starting from the row 9. And let's go to my sheet. That's different sheet name, starting again from row 9, and then we have ID, name, and date of birth, and then we have some data that could be hundreds or thousands of record. We doesn't really care as long as starting point is the same, and we really don't care about the text right here. Welcome to Tech Brothers. Maybe it says something different. Maybe just welcome to Tech Brothers. That's it. Now you see that sheet names can be also different. We don't really care as long as they follow the same format. We need ID, name, and date of birth starting from the same row, and at least starting from the same columns. So we see that this one is ID, it is in the A starting, and the C, okay, that's where date of birth, that's our ending, and row is 9. That's great. We can get this, use this, or we can once we have this information, we can use this information to start reading the data from this position. So we are all set to create our SSIS package now. Go to the SSDT SQL Server Data Tools, and now we will be going to the SSIS packages. Right click, add new SSIS package, and here we will be saying skip. Let me rename this one. Every time I say I'm gonna rename, I forget. Skip rows and load data to SQL. We will be creating some variables, as our folder path can change on different environments, and maybe our Excel file and or the table where we are loading the information, that can change as well. So we will be using the variables and use these variable in configuration. So this package can be dynamic. You can change the small things and it will be still working. First of all, we need a folder path where our files will be. So I created the folder path variable. I'm going to save the folder path in this variable for now. Next, where we would like to save this information. We read the information from Excel. We need to load the data into the table. So I'm going to use the schema name. This is going to be the schema of a table where I would like to write this information. In my case, it is DBO. And next part, I would like to create the table name variable. This is also going to be string, and in my case it is a customer. You notice that we have to have a table here, as we are reading here we are reading this information. We have ID, name, and date of birth. So I went to the SSMS and I created a table with this definition. So I have ID integer, name varchar 100, and date of birth date. So table is already created. If I run this one, I get this information, ID, name, and date of birth. So we can load the data now. If your table is different, here you have multiple columns and all that, you can now take a detailed look on the columns and create your table and provide the name whatever you like. Here, see, this sheet is customer, doesn't matter. In my other Excel, this is called my sheet, and one is sheet 2. So it doesn't really matter for me whatever the name of the sheet is, as long as you see sheets, they are different names. So the table name is totally your own choice. Save yes, and come back here. Now we need 3 more variables. One is starting from the start reading from row. That's what start reading from row. That's the starting point where our package should start read the Excel. This can be I'm going to use this one as a string. As we will be joining in the script task, so you can use as a string, doesn't really matter. And then we will have a start column, because that's where we need to provide. This is going to be string as well. And then we have ending column. Okay, start reading from row. So if you guys remember that our Excel row always start from the 9, so that's where we would like to read. Data is on the row 10, but I know first of all we need to read the header, so I'm going to start with the 9. Go back to the SSDT, provide the value here. So tomorrow, let's say if your template does change, it starts from row 20. So you have to pass or change the value in the configuration. You do not have to make any changes to the package, and you will just come back and make changes to the configuration. It will start reading from there. Start column. So here is the column name we need to provide from where the Excel started. As you can see, this is A. So A is the column, that's where our ID is, so that's a starting point, and C is the end column, so you can see from here. I'm going to provide these values, starting column A, ending column C. We are pretty set here now. We can use these variables in script task and write all that information. So script task, open it, use the C#, as I have a script ready for C#. So if you like VB, you can go ahead, but you have to write the code by yourself. I am going to provide the code with C#. There are converters, you can convert your C# code into VB online. Go ahead and select all the user variables we have created here, folder path, and then I have a schema name, starting column, table name, and then finally we have yeah, that's all. Let me see if there is any user. Okay, here that should be included as well. I believe we are all set here. Hit OK, and you can hit OK and save it one time in case you make some mistake. So open script again, go and click on edit script. Here we will be going back to the TechBrothersIT.com, and I have written this code there on one of the posts. So we can copy from there and paste it here. Go to the TechBrothersIT, go to the SS video tutorial, and go to the script task. Once you are under the script task, you will be finding this post right here, how to read Excel sheet data after skipping rows in SSIS package by using a script task. You can click here. Once this one open, here is the definition of the table I already have created, so we don't need that, and we need this code. I will put the link in the description, so you don't have to come and navigate through all that and find this. So it will in the video description, you go and click that link, it will open this script for you. These are the namespaces we will be adding to our package script task, so it can use different functions from these namespaces. Let's go back to the script task editor. I'm going to paste right here. Okay, that's all we need here. And now we will be copying the rest of the code and pasting in our script task. I'm going to copy till here and copy. If you don't like this part, see the code is going all the way on the right side. I will fix that though, but in cases if it is not even fixed, you don't need to go here. You can go to the download script, and I have uploaded the script to the Google Drive. You can go to the main right here, public void main, and you can copy from there, so you don't have to worry and come here till we have DTS task results. So you can copy from here and use it. Fine. Now let's go back to the our script task and go to the main function here, and then paste our code, save it, and then build it. One more thing, I missed it. I'm going to close this right now and come back to the our script task here. And if you remember that what we need to do, we did create the variables for the table, but we did not create the connection manager. we need to tell our script task, okay, which connection manager to use. So which database we need to load this information. So under the connection managers, right click and go to new ADO.NET connection. And let's go ahead and create a new one. We have to provide the SQL Server instance name, and then we have to select or provide the database name. Here I'm using SQL 2016, that's my instance. And now I will be using TechBrothersIT database test. I know this voice is really annoying when we click test. Okay, now the name is not that great. We are gonna right click, rename, and then change this one to the DB and call this one connection underscore TechBrothers. So once you use this one in configuration, you can tell right away, hey, oh, okay, this connection string is used to connect to the TechBrothersIT database. You will be having your database name here, not the TechBrothersIT. Or as long as your company doesn't care, they will let you create a TechBrothersIT database. You go ahead. Now we are all set. Come back. Let's review the code or script step by step and then run it. Go to the script task, click on edit script. It will open. We really need to pay some attention here. So these are the variables I have created, and then I use the SSIS variables to save the values to these variables. Now we have folder path, we have table name, schema name, starting column, ending column, and start reading from row. These should be exact matching with our variables right here, what we have created. Ending column, folder name, folder path, schema name, starting column. So see here, start column. Now in the script I have written starting column. So if I will try to run it, even see I saved it, I build it, it is saying build succeeded, but the variable names are not really matching. So that's wrong information. The build is successful, but once you run your package, it's going to fail. Why? As this variable does not exist. So two things you can do: you can remove this start ing part and leave a start column, and ending column. Let's see what is in the ending column. So ending column is fine, but I did instead of starting column, I put start column. And start reading from row. Let me see that part. Start reading from row. Yeah, that's correct. So all these variables has exact matching what we have in SSIS. They are case sensitive, and make sure you have exactly the same case and correct names. Otherwise you are going to have problem. It will fail. Now this information will be saved in these variable. Then we are providing this folder path and reading all the file information. So we are getting the list of the file names by using this code. Once we have the list of the files, we can loop through. Here I'm declaring a variable called string file full path. That should be our Excel path that will consist of folder path and file name. So I loop through the files, and then I saved okay, say file full path variable is equal to folder path / file name. So this is going to be complete path. Remember, we have a folder path saved in as a variable. So that's where we have saved this value, and then we have a complete file. So once we make connection, we will be able to read the data from this Excel file. So it is going to loop for each of the file. Now on each iteration, this value will be different. So it will be folder path / new file name. Now we created a couple more variables, connection string and header. So header is equal to yes, as we have the rows or we have the header column in our Excel. Then connection string is equal to provider Microsoft.ace.oledb.12.0. So this is the provider we are using to connect to our Excel file, and here is Excel file. So file full path, and then we are using some other variables here for extended properties. Header is equal to yes. Now come back. Here we are creating a new instance of OLEDB connection by using this connection string that we have just built on top. These message boxes, if you want to leave that, they are going to provide you information, and when you run it, you will see some information. But it doesn't really matter. You can add breakpoints and all those kind of things if error happen, or use the message boxes. Now we open a connection and then we get the OLEDB schema table. So you see that we are getting the schema information for all the sheets here. So we have a DT sheets, that's a data table in the memory, and once we have that, we will get all the sheets there, and from there we can loop through. Here I'm declaring a variable called the sheet name, and I'm going to change. You see, I have 2 lines of code. I could have simply put is equal to blank in the first line. I don't need to use the 2 line of code here. So I'm going to remove this one. And here we are looping through those sheets, and we are saying table name. If the table name does contain this $sign, that means it's a sheet name, because the Excel sheet does contain $sign, and then set the sheet name equal to table name dot to string. So that's what sheet name will be saved. And once you have the sheet name, here we are doing some kind of validation. Is depending upon you what you would like to do. This piece of code is doing one thing. Let me still here. So I'm reading top 1 row from that sheet and then telling is starting column. So it will take the value from the starting column A, and then we have a starting reading row. So it will become A9 and then colon, then end column. So that's where we will read. We will read from the sheet with starting column A9 colon, and then you have to provide the end column. Once it read that information, so we are reading only one top row. Why? Because that's where our column header is. So I'm filling that information into data table called DT. Then what I'm doing, I'm going through that table and which is saved in memory, and constructing a list of the columns such as the ID, comma name, comma date of birth, and then I'm passing that to the SQL query and checking against my system tables in the database. And whatever the matching columns I get it, I will save them and then only load those columns. What happened here? This part, if you don't like it, you don't wanna. If you say if any sheet has extra column, that I should just ignore that, or I should just put that information into log table or somewhere. I have a post on that and on that part as well. So you can handle in a different way. That was one of the way I was handling. So I'm saying just read the matching columns and read me all data, ignore the non-matching columns. But in your case, if you want to put the data, you can use this how to load matching sheets from Excel to the table and log non-matching sheets information to the SQL Server table. You can use this post and log that information in some table and ignore the sheet. You don't want to load it. That's absolutely fine. But in my case, I said, okay, well, let me load the matching column data. So it is going to return me, once I run this query, all the column matching columns I will get in SQL column list variable. Now, one more thing I would like to tell you here. We have DB connection. That's the connection manager name I'm using. So that's not right. We should be using a DB underscore connection TechBrothersIT. Why I'm telling you this one? Because in your database you will have a different connection manager name. So this one should be pointing to your connection manager name. Once that's done, we get the matching column list. Now we will go back one more time and read all the records from the Excel, and we say select column list, all the matching columns from this sheet, starting column A, and in this case we have starting row 9, so A9 colon ending column C. So that's how this SQL will be prepared. Then we will run this one against our Excel and get the data into the data table 1. Once we have the data table 1 ready, it means we read all the records from that Excel sheet a specific point. We start from column A, the row position was 9, and then ending column was C. Now we will be saying destination table schema name plus table name. Load this data to the table, okay, and we will be using SQL bulk copy, and then we will loop through the DT columns. So data table column 1, data table 1 has a column, right? We will map them with our destination. So Once this is mapped, then we will write the data from the data table dt from data table 1 to the SQL Server Table. So this part is going to repeat. See, we have for each loop for the files, and then inside we have for each loop for the sheets. So doesn't matter you have hundreds of files or you have hundreds of sheet, or maybe you have one Excel file with single sheet. As long as they have follow the same pattern, you will be just fine. Let's save this one and come back, close it, and here is my SSDT. Save it, save the script and everything. Now we come back to the table, take a look on this. We don't have any records. Let's run the package and it should work just fine. It should load the data for us. Okay, this is good learning point. You see that it is still running and running and running, and we saw a black screen because we have Excel open. One of the Excel is open. It tried to read it. Close this one, and now it will complete, but it will take a whole lot of time. So I will stop. Make sure your all Excel files are closed when you are gonna work on that. It has loaded some information already. I'm gonna truncate this table and then rerun. Okay, no information is there. We can go and run package again. It is completed. Green is good. Stop the package, go to the SSMS, run your query, and you see the data is loaded. First Excel file, okay, second Excel file, and second Excel test second Excel file. See, these records are coming from different sheets, and then we have a second sheet from second Excel file. So it did a loop through all those files and loaded the data from different sheets for us. That's great. So this is how you will be skipping the rows in your Excel and reading from specific points. You need to remember we always have to have a starting column, ending column, and then starting row. So as long as you have this information, doesn't really matter. They will change the layout. You can always change these values according to the by using the configuration, and you don't have to change the package at all. And also, if you are loading the data to some other schema and table, you can simply update these values. So this can be used as a major template package, and you can make a copies and change some information or by using the configuration, and use this package to read different files from different points inside the Excel sheets. Thanks very much for watching this video, and I hope this video will help and appreciate, and I will see you guys next time.